Now, planning powers are being handed back to local councils. It'll be the first time councillors have exercised such powers since the 1970s, when they were removed following some evidence of corruption and bias. I asked the Environment Minister Edwin Poots how far-reaching the changes would be.
Well, they're huge and substantial changes for local government. First of all, the reorganisation bill, which began out to public consultation, will create the opportunity to do away with the 26 councils and create the 11 councils. It will also look at setting up a code of conduct for councillors. It will set up governance arrangements. It will put in place ethical arrangements for councillors. Also looks at community planning, so it's a fairly substantial bill. In terms of the planning, we're looking at how we can transfer planning powers to local authorities, and that bill will be coming before the Executive or before the Assembly very shortly.
And when will we see these changes take effect? First of all, on the reorganisation of local government, and indeed then on the planning issue itself.
Well, the planning bill will enable powers to be transferred to local government, and that bill should be completed before we go to election. Thereafter, the local government reorganisation bill should be in place to go before the Assembly immediately after the election, and that could be completed within the year. So from the middle of 2012 onwards, if there was a will to pass planning responsibilities to local government, that could be done to the 26 councils in advance of the 11 council model being set up for 2015.
You say these are the biggest changes in 30 years, but planning was taken away from councils for a particular reason, because they weren't trusted. Why do you think that's different now?
Well, a lot of local government powers were stripped away from it, including roads powers and housing executive powers and other matters back in the early 70s. I think we're living in different days from that period. I think that as we normalise democracy in this part of the United Kingdom, that we should be as closely aligned to other parts of the United Kingdom as possible. And no other part of the United Kingdom is planning not exercised by local government. And I believe that having local democracy should mean local decision making.
And what about the potential for political graft? That's always a cause for concern.
Well, there's always a potential. Where there is money involved, there's always the potential for people to do things which are not right. And that's why we're proposing, in conjunction with transferring powers, at putting the code of conduct in place, at putting a mechanism whereby if people do step across the mark and they do things which are not wrong, it can lead to disqualification for up to 5 years as a councillor. So there is fairly punitive measures being put in place if people do not want to observe by the rules.
Is this then a sign of political maturity?
I believe it is, and I believe this is a fundamental step in the devolution process, where powers which Northern Ireland didn't have for many years, which resided at Westminster, have been transferred to this Assembly, and where this Assembly is now capable of transferring a range of powers to local government, where local government can identify how they go forward, how they represent the local community, how their towns can be developed over the years in consultation with the local community. A lot of community upfront involvement in these processes, in planning processes, and this isn't a system that is set up for the benefit of developers. This is a system that is set up for the benefit of the wider community.
Edwin Poots, many thanks.
Thank you.